The Yankees just got swept by the Red Sox. 4 games, 4 losses. And honestly, this wasn't a series where Boston proved they were dramatically better, because they're not. This was a series where the Yankees repeatedly handed them opportunities, whether it was errors, missed execution, poor at-bats, missed chances, late game collapses. We've talked all year about one of the Standard's core pillars. Championship teams don't beat themselves. This series, the Yankees failed that test. Because when you look deeper, the starting pitching wasn't awful. The bullpen wasn't awful for most of the series. There were actually opportunities to split or possibly even win this series. But instead, the Yankees made too many mistakes against a division rival. And good teams make you pay for those mistakes. Boston certainly did. So if we look at these games, in the first game, Cam Schlittler pitched, and he actually pitched pretty well. He didn't give up any earned runs. He went 5 innings. He ended up giving up 4 unearned runs on 5 hits and 2 walks while striking out 9. Dominguez had an RBI single in the first. Caballero went 2 for 4 with a solo home run in the fourth, and Goldschmidt had another 2-hit game. But the Yankees committed 4 errors in the game, and every single one of Boston's 6 runs scored were unearned. In Game 2, we had Will Warren go, and it was not his best game. He ends up only going 5.2 innings, giving up 5 earned runs on 7 hits and 3 walks, and not getting a single strikeout. But it didn't really matter because the Yankees only had 3 hits. Spencer Jones broke up the perfect game with a single in the 6th inning. Wells had the only RBI with a pinch hit ground out. And then Volpe had a double in the 8th, and Dominguez had a double in the 9th, and that was it. In Game 3, we had more of the same. The Yankees' offense was not there. Again, only 3 hits in the game. But Gerrit Cole started, and Gerrit Cole, again, seemed to struggle a little bit. He ends up only going 5.1 innings, giving up all 4 earned runs on 7 hits and 1 walk while striking out 5. The 1 run we scored was the Schumann solo home run in the 5th inning. And then Rosario and Bellinger each had a single in the game for our 3 hits. And then you get to Game 4, where Carlos Rodón actually pitched very well. He only gave up 1 hit and 0 earned runs in his 5 innings. But because of the errors, he gave up 2 unearned runs. Ended up walking 4 and striking out 6. And so the Yankees are down 2-0. In the 8th inning, Sonny Gray still has a no-hitter with 1 out in the 8th. Rosario came up. Luckily, he gets the single to end the no-no. The Yankees end up then tying the game in the 9th inning, scoring 2 runs off of Aroldis Chapman with the help of an error from the right fielder. But they tie the game there. In the 10th inning, they score 2 more runs, take a 4-2 lead, and then Fernando Cruz comes in the bottom of the 10th and can't seem to figure it out. Gives up 3 runs, 2 earned because of the ghost runner. And that's the ball game. The Red Sox walk it off for the sweep. A 4-game sweep. Not 4 identical losses. One game was lost because of our defense. One game because the offense disappeared. One game because Boston pitched better. And one game because the Yankees just couldn't finish completing an incredible comeback. So all 4 different losses, but still the same outcome. So what held in this series? Well, first of all, the starting pitching was better than the results suggested. This surprised me. Cam Schlittler goes 5 innings, 9 strikeouts, 4 runs, none earned. He pitched well enough to win. Rodón, 5 innings, 1 hit allowed, 0 earned runs. Again, good enough to win. The pitching wasn't perfect, but it certainly was not the reason that they got swept. Number 2, Paul Goldschmidt continues to be a steady veteran. Even in a terrible series, Goldschmidt did produce. He had another multi-hit game. He has competitive at-bats, professional at-bats, and he continues to be a stabilizing presence while Judge is unavailable. Unfortunately, a lot of the lineup disappeared in games 2 and 3 and most of game 4. The third thing that held was the Yankees showed fight in game 4. You're down late. You were no hit through 7 1/3 innings. You tie the game down by 2 in the 9th against a closer that's been pretty damn good the last couple years in Boston. You take the lead in the 10th, and that kind of a response deserves some credit. But unfortunately, Fernando Cruz just couldn't finish it off. So what did not hold in the series? Well, first and foremost, the defensive execution. And that's the biggest story. Because in game 1, you had 4 errors. Every single Boston run was unearned in that game. You think about that, the pitching gave the Yankees every chance to win. The defense gave the game away. And you just simply cannot win baseball games playing like that. Never mind if it's a good team or a bad team. You're not going to win when you give the other team that many opportunities. Same thing happened in the last game. Both of the runs that the Red Sox scored through 9 innings were unearned. The second thing that didn't hold, the offensive consistency. Game 2, 3 hits. Game 3, 3 hits. Nearly no hit in Game 4. The offense disappeared for way too long. Against quality pitching, the Yankees never consistently applied pressure. And it's amazing and frustrating because this same team just beat Skubal in Detroit. And then they come to Boston and they can't do anything. Against guys who are nowhere near the talent of Skubal. The third thing that didn't hold was closing games. Game 4 hurts. You're a couple outs away from salvaging the series finale. You fight all the way back, take the lead in the 10th, and then Cruz can't close the door. And that is just a brutal way to end a brutal series. So did the Yankees respond in this series? Well, the answer is not enough. After Game 1's defensive disaster, you wanted to see cleaner baseball. After Game 2's offensive struggles, you wanted to see more quality at-bats. But instead, you got more defensive blunders in Game 4, and you got more offensive struggles in Game 3. the same issues kept resurfacing. The Yankees fought, but they never actually corrected the problems. So what was the turning point of the series? Well, it was game 1 in the bottom of the 5th inning when the defense gave the game to the Red Sox. Because everything that happened afterward felt like the Yankees were chasing the series. 4 errors. 6 earned runs. 4 of those runs came in the 5th inning. That's the definition of giving a game away. Instead of leaving game 1 frustrated but optimistic, the Yankees leave wondering, how do they lose a game that they definitely should have won? And that set a tone for the rest of the weekend. So our player performances, the positive, it's no surprise, Cam Schlittler. He deserved much better. He had a great outing. He only went 5 innings, but because of the errors, he had 9 strikeouts, 0 earned runs. Against Boston, the stat line says 4 runs, but his performance says something completely different. The defense let him down. And that brings us to our concern. It's the team defense. And this isn't about one player. It's about the entire group. Errors, missed plays, giving the other team extra outs. Good teams capitalize on those mistakes, and Boston did. And this has become the Yankees' biggest obstacle. Not talent, but execution. And who's the trending player for us right now? Well, it's Paul Goldschmidt. Because even during the sweep, he still had some hits. He had his multi-hit game. You know, we're going to see if he's starting to slowly come back to earth now that it's been a few weeks of performing at a really high level, much higher than we expected him to. But, you know, he still had some hits in this series when a lot of guys struggled. And he started to struggle at the end, so some we're going to have to keep an eye on. If we go to our structural check, what is still aligned after this series? Well, the starting pitching remains competitive. You had Schlittler and Rodón both looked very good. You have Goldschmidt continuing to be that veteran leader. And the team did show some resilience in Game 4. What is not aligned, which is the bigger issue here, is the defensive consistency. This is still the biggest weakness. Another thing that's not aligned is the offensive pressure. Too many innings where the Yankees' bats just simply disappeared. And you can say, yeah, the Yankees don't have Judge, they don't have Stanton, they don't have Grisham. That's fair. But other guys have to step up. Other guys in this lineup should hit. You were able to beat Skubal. You can't beat Boston. And the errors are just, you're a Major League Baseball player. There are too many errors. And this is part of what makes me think, is Boone just creating a culture where it's just relaxed? It's okay to make mistakes. And that culture then carries over to the playoffs, where they make mistakes. And that costs you a series. That costs you your season. Right now it's just June. The June swoon. In October, when this happens, which it tends to, like, it's because you let it happen all year long. The other thing that's not aligned is finishing games. And the Game 4 collapse is one that they'll remember. You were no hit into the 8th inning. You come back, you tie the game, you take a 2-run lead, and you can't finish it. So the biggest takeaway from this, the series wasn't lost because Boston was unbeatable. It was lost because the Yankees consistently failed at the little things. Defense, execution, situational hitting, closing innings. And against major league competition, those details will decide the series. So what have we learned from this series? Well, number one, the Yankees' margin for error without Judge remains very small. When they play clean baseball, they can beat anyone. When they don't, series like this happen. The second thing we learned, the starting pitching continues to give them opportunities. Schlittler was great. Rodón was great. Cole battled. He's not quite there yet. But the rotation is not the problem. And the third thing and the biggest thing we've learned, the Yankees still have not solved their execution issues. We've seen flashes. We've seen this team, without their big hitters, come up clutch and win games. We've seen them play clean baseball and win games and win series. But they're just not doing it consistently. So if we take a look at our trend lines, right now the only things trending up are Cam Schlittler, Carlos Rodón. The starting pitching is trending slightly upwards. The defensive execution and the offensive consistency, and now even the team confidence through this last 10-game stretch is on the decline. And that's not really something you can afford to lose, is the confidence. So what should we watch for next series? Well, first and foremost, can the Yankees clean up the defense? This has to be priority number one. You don't have the big bats. You need to execute on defense. Second thing to watch for, can the Yankees offense create pressure early in the games? This series against Boston, there were too many slow starts, too many quiet innings. The way they've been playing, they can't afford to not get out to early leads. And the third thing to watch for, how does the team respond emotionally? Good teams don't let one bad series become two. And that's the challenge now. We're going to face Scooble again. So, how are we going to perform this time? For our final verdict, this sweep hurts. It's not because the Yankees were overmatched. It's because they were good enough to avoid it. But Game 1 was lost on defense. Game 4 slipped away after a great comeback attempt. And even Games 2 and 3 featured enough pitching to keep them in the games. The talent is there. The problem is the execution. And until the Yankees consistently stop giving away outs, runs, and opportunities, their October ceiling is just going to be lower than it should be. And that's the lesson from Boston. Not that the Yankees can't compete, but that championship baseball demands cleaner baseball. And that's the standard. Talent gets you into the conversation. Execution decides who wins it. This is The Standard with Brian Leavy.